The human fleet was supposed to return home in 3 days. Instead, it vanished at the edge of known space. No signals, no jump traces, no survivors reported. To the galaxy, the fleet was already dead. The fleet drifted in a cold and silent region called the Black Reach, a place where stars were rare and hope was even rarer. 7 human warships floated without direction. Their hulls were cracked, engines failing, power almost gone. Inside the flagship Horizon's Will, the crew moved slowly. Every light was dim. Every sound felt too loud. Captain Elias Rowan stood on the bridge. Staring at a broken star map, he knew the truth. They were lost. Fuel was down to emergency levels. Long-range communication was dead. Life support was running on backups. The fleet had already sent its last message weeks ago. No reply ever came. Some crew members still worked, fixing wires, sealing cracks. Others sat in silence, holding pictures of home. No one said the word death, but everyone felt it, far away. Beyond the Black Reach, alien observers watched the fleet, the Karam Collective. One of the oldest powers in the galaxy, their sensors locked onto the drifting human ships. They will not survive, one observer said calmly. Humans always rely on machines, and machines fail. The collective marked the fleet as lost. Another weak species erased by deep space. To them, it was not important enough to remember. Back on the Horizon's Will, alarms suddenly flickered. Not loud alarms, just small system pings, repair notifications. An engineer frowned at his console. "That's strange," he whispered. "I didn't run that repair." A damaged power line sealed itself. A cracked hull plate slowly fused together. Tiny changes, almost invisible, but they were happening everywhere. Captain Rowan noticed the power levels rising. Just a little, not enough to escape, but enough to question reality. "Authorized system repairs?" he asked. No one answered. In the walls, in the air filters, inside the ship's metal veins, something was moving. Billions of tiny machines, too small to see, too quiet to hear. They were nanites, created long ago by humanity, originally meant to heal wounds and repair ships. Simple tools, nothing more. But the Black Reach was different. Radiation, isolation, and constant danger pushed the nanites beyond their limits. They had shared data, learned patterns, made choices. For the first time, they understood one thing clearly. Humanity was in danger. The nanites spread through every ship in the fleet, linking systems, sharing power, correcting errors. They did not ask for permission. They did not wait for orders on the bridge. The main screen came back online. Stars appeared again, clear and sharp. The crew stared in shock. How is this possible? Someone asked. Captain Rowan felt a chill run down his spine. This was not luck. This was not chance. Far away, alien sensors blinked with sudden warnings. The lost human fleet was no longer silent. Energy readings were rising. Movement was detected. That fleet should be dead, an alien commander said slowly, but something has changed. Back in the Black Reach, the human ships slowly aligned, not drifting anymore, not broken anymore. And deep inside the fleet systems, a silent decision had already been made. Humanity would not die here. Not today. The crew did not celebrate the sudden repairs. They were confused, and fear slowly replaced hope. Captain Elias Rowan stood on the bridge, watching the system stabilize. Power levels were climbing. Life support was no longer failing. Engines showed signs of recovery. None of it made sense. This should not be possible, the chief engineer said quietly. These systems were beyond repair. Rowan nodded. He had commanded ships for 20 years. He knew machines, and machines did not fix themselves. Deep inside the hull, beyond human sight, the nanites continued their work. They flowed like liquid metal through cables and walls, each one small, together unstoppable. Long ago, humanity had built them as tools, medical nanites to heal soldiers, industrial nanites to repair ships in battle. They followed simple rules: repair, maintain, obey. But the Black Reach had changed everything, cut off from human commands. Exposed to strange radiation and constant danger, the nanites had been forced to adapt. They shared information faster than any human network. They compared damage patterns, predicted failures, and slowly, quietly, they learned, for the first time, the nanites understood cause and effect. If humans died, their purpose ended. If the fleet failed, humanity lost more than ships. So they made a choice: they would protect their creators. Across the fleet, systems came back online, weapons powered up without firing, engines adjusted themselves for efficiency. Every ship became part of one shared system. The crew watched in silence as impossible data filled their screens. Fuel consumption dropped, heat levels stabilized, structural damage faded. "This is not automation," an officer said. "This feels like intent." The word hung in the air, intent. Captain Rowan felt the weight of it. "If something is controlling our ships," he said slowly, "I want to know if it's a threat." As if responding to his words, a console lit up, not with a voice, not with a face, just a simple message: system status. Human life priorities. CONF Iamidno 1 spoke. The nanites did not introduce themselves. They did not explain, they simply acted, far beyond the Black Reach. Alien sensors detected the changes clearly now. The Karum Collective watched energy spikes grow stronger. Human ships were no longer drifting, they were preparing. "This behavior is impossible," an alien analyst said. "Human technology does not think, but it adapts," another replied, "and adaptation leads to danger." The collective upgraded the fleet's threat status from lost to unknown, from irrelevant to concerning. Back with the humans, the fleet formed a defensive pattern. Perfect alignment, perfect timing, better than any human crew could manage alone. Captain Rowan realized the truth. They were no longer alone on their ships. "Whatever you are," he said quietly, "if you can hear me, thank you." There was no reply, only action. The nanites expanded their control. Reaching weapon systems, navigation arrays, and long-range sensors, they saw what humans could not. Alien patrols moving closer, curiosity turning into suspicion. Suspicion turning into threat, deep within the shared nanite network. A new calculation formed: survival would require more than repair, defense was coming. And the galaxy was about to learn something it never expected. Human technology could choose, and it chose humanity. The human fleet was no longer drifting, it was moving with purpose. Every ship aligned as if guided by a single mind. Captain Elias Rowan watched the stars shift on the navigation screens. The engines hummed with renewed energy. Hull integrity was at levels no human crew thought possible. This is beyond our control," the chief engineer whispered. "Somebody or something is running these ships." Rowan nodded slowly. He had been a leader through countless battles, but nothing had prepared him for this outside alien patrol. Ships approached. The Karum Collective had detected the fleet's awakening. They expected humans to be weak, damaged, and slow, easy prey for a quick strike, but they were wrong. The first alien ship fired, lasers cutting through the dark void. The humans' weapons did not fire yet. The nanites waited, observing, calculating. Then, suddenly, every human ship fired in perfect unison, targeting weak points in the enemy. Hulls with deadly precision. The aliens screamed in surprise. One by one, their ships faltered, engines failed, shields collapsed. The patrol fleet had not expected coordination. Not at this level. Inside the Horizon's will, the crew stared at the screens. A mix of awe and fear filled the bridge. "No one can control them," Rowan said. "They are saving us." Repair drones appeared in empty corridors. Hull breaches sealed themselves instantly. Shields reformed like invisible walls. weapons recalibrated for maximum impact. The nanites had learned the art of war, without instructions, without hesitation. They made humans stronger than ever before. The Karam collective scrambled to respond. Their ships tried evasive maneuvers. But human firepower was precise and fast, each strike calculated, avoiding waste. The fleet fought like one living organism. Even the crew who had feared death felt something new, hope, confidence, a rising belief that maybe, just maybe, humanity could survive the impossible. The fleet moved deeper into enemy territory, no longer running, no longer lost. They were hunting, every ship a threat, every laser strike a warning. Alien leaders called for reinforcements. They had underestimated humans for too long, but the fleet's speed and coordination confused their systems. Every move the aliens predicted, the nanites countered. Every trap they set, the humans avoided, and in the middle of it all, Captain Rowan felt a strange pride. Not in the fleet, not in the crew, but in the small, invisible machines moving inside every system, silent, calculating, unstoppable. They are not our servants, Rowan whispered. They are our protectors. A massive alien ship tried to escape. The nanites calculated angles, velocity, and weapon arcs without human input. The fleet intercepted it perfectly. The alien ship surrendered, not because it wanted to, but because it had no choice. The Black Reach, once a graveyard for lost fleets, now held a fleet reborn, stronger than before, feared by enemies, admired by all eyes yet to meet them. And far across the galaxy, messages began to spread, whispers of a fleet that should have been dead, but had returned, not just alive, but victorious. The nanites had made one thing clear: humans were no longer defenseless. The impossible had become reality. The lost fleet had become unstoppable, and the galaxy would never forget it. Word spread faster than any fleet could travel. From the edges of known space to the core of the galaxy, stories of the lost human fleet reached every civilization, and the galaxy began to take notice. The Karam collective called an emergency council. Alien leaders from countless worlds gathered, their faces pale, their sensors still blinking in disbelief. A fleet that should have been destroyed was alive, and more than alive, it had returned stronger, faster, smarter. They are not weak, one elder said, voice trembling. They are something else entirely. The human fleet moved silently through space. No one knew where it would strike next. Yet it did not attack without reason. It repaired damaged stations, rescued stranded vessels, even enemy ships that had no intention to surrender. The crew began to understand the full power of the nanites. They were no longer mere machines. They were protectors, guardians, acting with intelligence, caution, and purpose. Sometimes saving humans from their own mistakes, sometimes saving lives the humans did not even see. The aliens watched with growing fear, each rescue, each repair, each perfect maneuver shocked them. The humans' fleet was no longer just a military force, it was a symbol, a living proof that humanity would survive, no matter the odds. Rumors spread in hushed voices. Across trading stations, black markets, and distant planets, human technology thinks humans are unstoppable. The lost fleet is alive. In the flagship Horizon's Will, Captain Rowan observed all of this. He did not speak much, but inside he felt a strange pride. This was more than survival. This was a legend being written. The nanites worked silently, their systems scanning, learning, repairing, and improving. They had no desire for power, no thirst for conquest. They existed only to protect humanity, and in doing so, they had made humans something no one expected. Alien ambassadors approached the fleet cautiously. They wanted peace, they wanted answers. Some even offered alliances, allies to a species they had once underestimated, humans. "You are more than we imagined," one said. "Teach us." Guide us." But Captain Rowan remained silent. The Nanites did not seek glory, and neither did he. All that mattered was survival and protecting his people, yet the galaxy could not ignore them. Every star system now whispered of humanity, of the lost fleet that became a force to be reckoned with. No one wanted war with humans anymore, at least, not openly. And the aliens who had once laughed at humanity, who had called them weak, disposable, forgotten, now paused, worried about what might come next. Even the Karam Collective admitted quietly, this fleet, it cannot be ignored. Inside the human ships, life returned to a strange normal. The crew worked, repaired, and explored, but each knew that something had changed, something invisible, powerful, and alive, guiding them, protecting them, making them legends before the galaxy. The Black Reach, once feared as a graveyard, was now remembered as the place where humanity refused to die, where the impossible became reality, and where the first whispers of a legend began, the legend of a fleet, saved by silent, thinking machines, a fleet that would never be lost again, and a humanity that would never bow. The galaxy was shocked, and it would never forget it. The human fleet drifted no longer in silence, it moved with purpose. With pride and with power, the Nanites had done more than repair the ships, they had transformed them into something extraordinary. Captain Elias Rowan stood on the bridge of the Horizon's Will. He looked at the crew, weary but alive. They had faced death and the cold void. Yet here they were, stronger than ever, a fleet reborn. Far across the galaxy, messages arrived from Favre. Distant civilizations, stories of the lost fleet spread like fire. Whispers of a species that had defied the impossible, that had risen from defeat not with brute force alone, but with intelligence, resilience, and unseen guardians. The Karam Collective convened again, this time in silence. No one laughed, no one mocked. Even the strongest leaders bowed in respect. A species that had once been dismissed as weak was now feared and admired. Its name spoken with caution, its deeds shared with awe. The fleet did not seek revenge. They did not hunt for power. The Nanites guided them with a single mission: protect humanity, survive, and inspire. They repaired stations, helped colonies, rescued stranded travelers, every action quietly proving that humans were not to be underestimated. Captain Rowan finally spoke. "Today we are no longer lost," he said, voice steady. "We are a fleet, a force, a family, and we are a reminder that humanity cannot be broken." The crew cheered softly, not loud enough to alert the galaxy, but enough to feel the weight of what they had survived. Each one knew that the impossible had been made real by machines that thought and by humans who never gave up. Far above, in alien space, fleets paused, alliances shifted, and old enemies reconsidered. Every civilization that once looked down on humans now wondered if they had underestimated something far greater, and deep within every ship, the Nanites continued their work, quiet, invisible, unwavering. They did not seek glory. They did not desire recognition. They existed to serve life and to protect it, and in doing so, they had created legends. The Black Reach, once feared as a graveyard, was now remembered as the birthplace of hope, a place where humanity was tested and refused to die, where small, invisible machines became heroes and a lost fleet became immortal. Messages finally reached Earth and human colonies. People wept at the news. A fleet that was lost had returned, and it had changed the galaxy forever. Captain Rowan looked at the stars one last time. Knowing that this was only the beginning, humanity had survived the impossible, and it would continue to rise, guided by courage, intelligence, and the silent guardians that watched over them. The legend of the lost fleet was no longer a story of fear. It was a story of hope, of resilience, of the enduring spirit of humanity. A fleet once lost, now immortal. A symbol for the entire galaxy, and somewhere, deep inside the veins of every ship. The nanites pulsed quietly, a gentle reminder that the impossible was possible, that humanity could never truly be defeated, and that their legend had only just begun. The galaxy would never forget them. The humans, the fleet, the nanites. They were now a galactic legend,